Yep.
All right. Oh, great, thank you. Are we recording?
Mhm.
Great, then I'd like to call this meeting of the South County Senior Center Board of Oversight to order. And I just want to say, I'm so freaking happy the room. Oh, that's me. Thank you all for coming. I think we have actually a really exciting agenda.
You must.
Interesting that, so thank you everybody for coming.
Yes.
Our guidelines are, and you all look like you're okay with this, speak one at a time, be nice. That sort of thing, everything, the things you learned in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Right, so, and especially tonight, because there's so much to say and talk about, if we can be concise and non-repetitive, that would be good. Okay, all members of the board are present. The first item on the agenda is public comment, limited to 2 minutes per person, and it's on items that are not on the agenda. So does anyone have something they want to talk about that is not on the agenda? Oh, yeah. The agenda items are, after this, the Mass in Motion Working Group is gonna give us a little presentation. We're gonna have an update on the intermunicipal agreement that has been discussed at the select boards. We're gonna discuss the space at 112 Amherst Road as a potential home. James Van Greco will give us updates, and there's a big old stack of data here. And then we're gonna talk about our own structure and as in terms of consortium and a district. And what might we wanna do about that? That's a longer term item. So I expect that discussion will be relatively short tonight, but you probably heard in the papers, and in the papers, our neighbors from Asheville, Buckland, Shelburne. Are a consortium, not an intermunicipal agreement, and they're switching to a district. And so we're kind of keeping our eyes on that, and there's no decisions made on that, but it's just a discussion item we have, because we wanna think about what's going on, and maybe something for the future. Okay, so that's the agenda. Is there anybody who wants to talk about something not on that agenda? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone who wants to do that.
Nobody online.
Okay, great.
Larry and Phyllis, you're good? I'm gonna go with yes.
We're good, thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, all right, then let me turn it over to the Mass in Motion Work Group. About a tax work-off program.
Right.
Okay,
I'm Chris Gaudreau, I'm our outreach coordinator here with the South County Senior Center. And for the past couple of years, we've been working with our South County residents through Mass in Motion. So you might be asking, what is Mass in Motion? It's a statewide movement that promotes opportunities for healthy eating and active living in places where people live, learn, work, and play. So we've focused over the past couple of years on a variety of topics, including transportation, how can we help everyone in our community access transportation, food access, most recently, tax work-off programs. So this year, we've been really focused on that issue. So I want to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing to research and try to promote potential tax work-off programs in South County communities. Currently our group has been advocating for a senior tax work-off program in the 3 towns. Sunderland has a tax work-off program. So that's where we went first to learn about their tax work-off program through conversations with Sunderland Town Administrator Becky Torres. So in our conversations with her, the program is overseen by the town administrator, select board office, with assistance from the treasurer, collector, and assessors. Department heads request volunteers specifically and the type of work that they need. So it's all based around what does a specific department in the town need? And from there, they place ads, try to find candidates. There's all the background checks that you would have normally for any other kind of job. And the qualifications, you have to be 60 years old or older and own property owner. Different towns have the maximums for tax abatements. Sunderland's is 500 per household. Which is about 55.6 hours per year, and their year for this program ranges from October 1st through September 30th. So what do people who are part of this tax work-off program do? Well, you know, you have to be an older adult. You can also be a veteran. That's important to highlight too. It's not just for older adults in our community. It's open to veterans. So in Sunderland, 3 people help during the election times. There's 1 person in the town office and 1 in the library. And then there's another position within town hall. Currently 6 of potential 8 positions are filled within Sunderland. I also spoke to our neighboring communities in Greenfield and Conway. Greenfield COA Director Hope McCary specifically helps oversee that program. Obviously, Greenfield's a city in a much bigger community than South County really combined. But here's an idea of what they do. So their main benefit is that they see is it provides free labor and help for their departments. And it's a variety of different departments that people are able to volunteer through. So funding is in both cases with Conway and Greenfield is through the overlay account via the assessor's office. Older adults are able to have up to $2,000 of a tax abatement in Greenfield with 133 hours volunteer time. There's 20 positions.
Can you say the numbers again?
$2,000 in tax abatement per household,
And that's,
133 hours of volunteer time.
okay.
There,
And you said for Sunderland, it was a $500 limit, and that was about 55 hours.
yes, yeah,
Ah,
and
that's below minimum wage. That's-
yeah, so 500 I think
We should check those numbers.
Yeah, the numbers, this was adopted in 2015, so the language might be,
That might have been.
the hours probably have changed, but
I remember you sharing that they do go up to meet the minimum wage every year
Yes.
because that was.
Okay. But they're basically.
I should clarify that, yeah, so
That's basically it's a minimum wage.
it's minimum wage.
Wherever we're looking at it.
And it's, so in Sunderland, it is still that $500 maximum,
Okay,
with minimum wage, being
Okay.
whatever the current state.
okay, so the limit doesn't also go up with
No.
inflation or anything like that. That'd
No.
have to get reconsidered.
That's, something, you know, we're advocating in Sunderland is maybe reconsidering
Yeah.
the maximum. That doesn't mean, if someone does, $500 worth of tax abatement through the volunteering efforts. And, you know, only wants to reach that, or there's only that need, it would be the maximum, not
Right.
like
Right,
what everyone would be doing.
right, exactly.
So thank you for pointing that out.
Sorry to have interrupted you.
So there's 20 positions in the city of Greenfield. Just some examples, they have 1 person in the fire department, police department, 2 in the clerk's office. In the past, they've had folks in the health department, library, helping actually with inspections. With the health department, so it's based on people's backgrounds. And, you know, as we know, retirees have a huge background, a variety of backgrounds. So whatever placement might be requested in the community, there might be a community member that could meet that. But I think the really interesting takeaway in my conversation with Hope was she said most of the volunteers that she manages, once they've reached that $2,000 max, they keep on volunteering. You know, they feel engaged and they want to, you know, be part of the community. It's a 4-month period in Greenfield that they volunteer for, but they're going year round.
Okay.
in most cases. The anecdotally, one of the most interesting things Hope said is, the current mayor of Greenfield, Virginia DeSorger, was a volunteer through the tax abatement program. She was cleaning exercise equipment at the COA, you know, before she became mayor. I mean, I think that's a really anecdotal, really great story just to show like, you know, our older adults in our communities have a lot of value.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, if you can get someone engaged with their community in just a small way, you never know how that might develop. They could end up running for mayor.
Yeah, well, who's doing the cleaning now?
Right.
That's what I wanna know.
The next mayor, the mayor is still.
Apparently, that's the stepping stone. No, just, sorry.
No worries. You know, this is a back and forth exchange and I love hearing what you all have to say. So I also spoke with Conway's town administrator, Veronique Blanchard. So their senior tax work-off program is very new. It's in their first year and that's very exciting. They have 5 positions. Their maximum tax abatement is $1,500. The total is $7,500 for the overall program through via the overlay account with the assessors. They've had 3 applicants. The first person has helped with scanning Old Town meeting minutes. So this is going back, you know, as far as the town existed. Forever and ever. The second person is doing a new guide to Conway, like a new resident guide to Conway. And the third is creating signs indicating Conway is a right to farm community. So these are all things, you know, that, you know, for whatever reason, maybe the department might not be able to do. They can have these side projects and a group of volunteers working on these projects. Next year, they're looking to fill positions to help with filing the planning board office. Their period runs through January 1st through September 30th. Veronique, when I asked her what the benefits were to her community, she viewed it as another way to help fixed income residents. You know, and I asked her about the challenges too. Some of the difficulty in finding job skills that match what departments are looking for.
Yeah.
That can be a challenge. And obviously, you know, when you're starting something up, there's the challenge of starting something new, especially coordinating with multiple departments. But, you know, even in their first year, it seems like the benefits have outweighed kind of the costs of starting it up.
Yeah.
From her perspective. Another important thing to highlight is, you know, at the South County Senior Center, we have volunteers that help out with our food truck distribution, brown bag programs, through our RSVP. But we do not have any volunteers through Sunderland's tax work-off program. I asked Becky Torres specifically about that. Historically, there hasn't been any requests, but if any requests did come in, it could be a potential where they'd have to look at that in depth. Because we are a tri-town senior center and we have one of the 3 towns who have adopted the tax work-off program, the other 2 have not. Being greatly in Deerfield. So that's kind of my presentation. I'd like to hand it over to one of our members from Deerfield, Betty Wickley. She's part of the Mass in Motion group. I'd just love for her to share some of her thoughts about, you know, being part of this and, you know, her hopes, you know, for the future.
Well, first of all, I have to thank Chris for, you know, leading all of us and, you know, following up on what we've met and what our goals are and things like that. I came on board last year when I heard that they were trying to hopefully get a program together for tax rate. And so I have, the members that that usually come to the meeting, I've heard the success that they've had through transportation. You know, getting bus stops, getting, getting rides, and so it was such a positive thing to hear that, the committee was, getting use out of it. And they have ideas for more changes and safety wise and things like that. And so when they started talking about tax write-off and things like that, I kind of looked back, and we built our house in 1972. And our taxes were $284 for the year. And, now they're like $6,000. So financially, it's an opportunity for somebody to really benefit from financially. But I am a longtime volunteer, and I started the volunteer in public schools in 1983. And it's called VIPS, and we help the teachers. I was known as the fluoride lady. Right. Yeah, they go to the library, do all of that. And it was something new. But it was really, I think most of us were stay-at-home moms. You got to know each other, you got to know the teachers, you knew the friends. So building that when you get as a volunteer, you feel like you are, productive and doing good. And not even for the money. It's nice to have the money, but So, it is, I have a friend that does volunteer in Greenfield, and which is a whole big thing, and they just are, they're always busy. There's always something for them to do. And, they all have a nice little group. And, they love volunteer, and like Chris said, is they continue on when they're, it just gives you a sense of worth. And, we might, a lot of life experiences, maybe you don't have the technology that, it's changing every day, but, we're good at finding, the alphabet. So I believe it will be benefit to, especially the town.
Right.
It would be interesting to see what opportunities, the library, even the highway department, up the bushes on the side so you can see the sign.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
I have a question.
Just go around the table.
Thank you, yeah, I had a question about the, so they were funding it through the overlay,
Yes.
section of the overlay, and that's what I was kind of a bit curious, like. All of this hasn't, we never have enough money to run a town, right, so
Of course.
where you compensate, so that's an interesting. Avenue, how to fund it, I think it's beneficial because it gets people involved in the community, which serves a lot of ways, it's. Good value for the money, and if it helps, go on fixed income, I think it's important, but I always also look at like, okay, so that's. Less money we have to fund our senior center and our programs and that kind of thing.
Of course,
But yeah,
yeah.
so it's finding that balance of getting the benefit, the purpose, in lives and, so it's fascinating, I think it's worth talking about, and, we find a community about it, that kind of thing, so.
Yeah, I think our next steps, get before some more boards.
Yeah.
Select boards, finance committee, hopefully, get to town meeting next year and, see if this can be put towards a vote.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss also if I didn't thank Rachel Solar for being here tonight.
Thank you.
From the Franklin Regional Council of Governments. She's been amazing, guiding us through, transportation, food access, and now, tax workout programs. Thank you, Rachel.
And Michael from the workers.
Oh, yes, Michael. I didn't see you there, Michael. Michael is also from our work group.
Thank you.
Our Whately member.
Dan, you have anything you wanna?
I'm gonna check on that minimum wage.
Yeah.
It's settling.
20 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
See if the 500 could go up a little, and just wonder what
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely share your concern, this money to take from that.
Yeah, it's always finding that balance.
But I think really it's probably a good deal when you think about it. 'cause
It is.
You pay employees to do all that, all of it, everything else.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a good deal overall, for sure.
Do you wanna add any?
I was just gonna say, you know, it's great to see, when FERCog initially approached the three towns about, you know, funding the Mass in Motion group, and it was voted with three towns
Yeah.
at each select board to have the senior center, you know, in charge of that, and we have made such phenomenal strides over the last 3 years about dealing with food insecurity, with transportation. For those in the audience,
Especially transportation.
we've been
Yeah.
able to partner more with the PBTA. We're actually coming up into another grant cycle with them for us to have funding for 4 hours a week to do a medical ride through the senior center where they'll where we have a certain amount of money for 4 hours a week, including the fringe benefits, you know, based on the hourly percentage. And then they'll be providing us a vehicle moving forward. Paul is. Sorry. Paul is waiting for the information from the state and federal level right now, so hopefully that'll still be going through. The other piece of that is we've established the current route going from the Banks Community Center up through Leverett, and going up through Sunderland, up through the Over Transportation Center to Bay State Franklin area, which Chris drives on Tuesdays. That helps us to provide him with an additional 5 hours off budget and 3 hours off of our annual budget weekly. But it also gives you know, the opportunity for some individuals, seniors included, you know, to strike up conversation and get to know Chris, to see, you know, how that can benefit the community. Now, the food insecurity piece was a big thing where we're actually, we had come up with a map to show the desert, like a food desert, even though we have farm stands and some local little smaller markets in town, like Millstone or Chislicks. Whately doesn't really have a market other than, you know, two
It's
Circle
seasonal.
K's or the farm stands.
Yeah.
So it does go to show the food desert information that we have, that we're gonna have a map printed up from FERCog's partnership. But we also started our annual informational fair and cruise night through that funding. And this year on August 20th will be our 4th annual, and we're moving it to the Sunderland Elementary School because it's so big now. So we're all set with that, and then you know, so we're really leading into community, finding resources for everyone, because we found a lot of caregivers are unable to attend some of those events that usually occur during daytime hours where they may be
Yeah.
working and can't attend. So last year we had over 200 people come through. So we expect this year to be even bigger. So that funding with FERCog has really gone a long way, and to see, you know, now we're at the tax work off. And hopefully that'll go forward, and we just have to figure out what to do for next year's,
Yeah.
or for this fiscal year that we just entered.
Yeah. Okay.
But they've been doing a great job. Chris and I have been checking in regularly. And I think their progress has been really, really stellar.
Sorry. I just wanted to confirm, make sure I heard a couple things right. One was, the entity that makes the first move is within the government.
Yes.
So for example, if Jen were to make a request to the town of Sunderland, I need some volunteers with these skills. They could get a tax write-off from it. It's not the fact that somebody says, well, geez, I'd like to work off some of my taxes.
Right.
someone could apply, but then you're gonna try to match the skills. And it's really like, well, we don't have a volunteer spot open with your particular skills at this time, but then you could, I suppose, accept applications from people when there's no openings, just to kind of keep them on file, but the real starting point of a match is gonna be when, some municipal entity comes in and says, the highway department, whatever department, comes in and says, I could really use a volunteer to do this job, and it might be a job that only takes 2 weeks, or could be,
Yeah.
could be anything. So it's not, I guess what I'm trying to say is, in terms of like funding it,
Right,
we're not trying to eliminate an existing employee.
yeah.
No.
We think we need all of our employees, but I know in our town, we specifically set, like, I remembering one of our employees from a couple of years back. Her hours are set, like, with a lower limit and an upper limit per week, because during budget season, she was up at that upper limit all the time, and we needed to have the lower limit for the less busy time. So it seems like there could be a good match, but it would depend on the skills.
Yeah.
That somebody brings to it. So I heard that right.
Yes, you heard it, exactly.
Oh, okay, and Michael
Can I,
had,
can I just bring up that, today was another opportunity where I had a chance to talk to Amy LaValley, the town clerk over. And
Yeah.
very excited about this program, absolutely, see several different places where this is basic as stuffing envelopes.
yeah,
But now if you have arthritis, or that might be something hard to do, or if there's not,
Right.
but, finding those tasks is gonna be the challenge, all right, but.
Yeah.
It's very excited about the idea of it getting.
yeah, yeah, cause we don't actually stuff that many envelopes. I mean, not anymore, but I mean, that's something more or less anybody can do if their fingers are healthy, right?
Arthritis, I just.
Hey, I got arthritis, nice stuff envelopes.
Yes, you do.
But maybe not so bad as, but, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I wish you luck, I hope to see you before the Whately Select Board. And, I'll tell my friends on the finance committee to keep their eyes open for you.
Wonderful.
Is there anybody else in here who wanted to ask anything or say anything to? That's most.
Just a comment. I think Sunderland 500 is a little low at this point. And I think 1,500 to 2,000 is much more enticing.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think Dan heard you.
So is there some kind of income limit or asset?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that varies from town to town, so,
Because Deerfield, I think, has a program that seniors with limited income and limited assets can get a discount on their
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, too, but it's not.
So the question is, would this be in addition? You don't need to answer that now,
Yeah.
but would it be in addition, would it be parallel?
And veterans too, I think there's a program now and then.
Right, we just adopted this at our last town meeting,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's a.
but those ones don't require any, are not volunteers, there's no
This
work.
is a great win-win, because you get experience of people with, years of experience doing different things that.
We have,
work in that.
at the center, we have, we have a senior who volunteers to do our filing. We have a group who comes in to, fold and stuff our envelopes, or
Yep.
even
Mhm.
if they're not stuffing the envelopes, they put the labels on the envelopes for our newsletters, because we mail out over 200, every other month. So, it really does help. At one point, we had someone organize all of our books. And, so, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, all right, all right,
Yeah.
Thank you all.
yes, thank you so much for
Yeah.
taking the time.
yeah, thank you for having us on the agenda, really appreciate it.
All right. Okay, we got a pretty full agenda, so I'm gonna move us on. Update on the current intermunicipal agreement. And I think this will be a fairly short discussion. The update on the intermunicipal agreement has been brought to all 3 select boards.
Yeah.
We've not yet heard back from council. It was sent by Whately, Pete King sent it to our town council, which is the same as the town council for Sunderland.
Yeah.
Not the same as for Deerfield, but Deerfield was like, whatever,
Yeah.
they're fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, all 3 select boards put off a vote. in Whately and Deerfield, they were inclined to go with it. And in Sunderland, two of the three selectmen seemed inclined to go with it. Would that be inaccurate? One person was very worried about the selectmen having the opportunity to appoint someone who was not a selectman. And that would be a really bad thing. And that they don't really like that particular change. So that was discussed, but it didn't come to a vote. And it's one person. And we don't know, I mean, if the vote had to happen that day, I don't know what would have happened.
Right,
I mean, people always like to have consensus, but
sure.
at some point, you know, and I've been on the select board long enough to have been the one dissenting
Sure.
vote when everybody else wanted to go forward. So
Happens.
so that happens too. But that's a bridge to cross sort of when we get,
So I just want to gather their concern, and maybe I'm missing something, but they were concerned about. Appointing somebody who was not a
select,
board member,
right,
but they would, the select one would be the appointing authority.
yes.
And, okay,
Right.
Yeah, they're,
I think the idea was that, you know, if you don't have a selectman in there, then. Like, you need somebody who's really in tune with what is going on in the town.
yeah,
And
okay,
they didn't say the only selectman will be that, but the selectman will be pretty much in
Yeah.
tune.
okay.
And Dan very interestingly pointed out, like she said, oh, there was this thing that happened. Then it's like, well, Dan said, well, it was my fault, I was, you know.
We're going to it,
And then, so being a select board member does not guarantee that you would avoid that problem. So that was pointed out, but they had a pretty strong opinion, and
Okay.
I'm not saying that they're wrong.
No,
I'm just saying that, you know,
good to hear all
Right.
sides.
so,
Yeah.
so mostly, people, there's no objection to updating the funding profile from anybody.
And no objection to, I think we have appointing somebody that was not.
Oh, yes,
senior
yes.
As well.
Senior center member, no problem with appointing the non-voting members. So that's where that stands, and
All right.
we'll just have to see where that goes. There's,
Okay.
and the funding, and the formula funding part would be for fiscal 27
Correct.
anyway, so we don't
Yeah.
have to worry about that.
Right,
Just wait to hear back from legal
Right.
and we'll be good to go.
all right,
Okay,
great.
all right, everybody's favorite item, it's the
Yeah.
space discussion. About 112 Amherst Road.
Yep.
So I'm not sure how to start this, but maybe Nick, can I go first?
Sure.
I had a week where I did not have a lot of stuff that I had to do during the day. That doesn't hardly ever happen, but it did happen this past week. So I started working the phones. I just thought, you know, I wanna really be ready for this meeting. I wanna know what people in different towns are thinking. So
Yeah.
I went out and talked to with this because I was not in Massachusetts at the time.
Yeah,
I talked to, let's see, let me go in order. In Deerfield, I talked to your, finance committee chair. I talked to Tim Hilty.
mhm,
I reached out to Blake Gilmore, but he didn't get back to me,
Okay.
but that's okay.
yeah,
I may have talked to one other person. In Sunderland, I started with Tom Feidenkevitz.
Yeah.
And he gave me a whole list of people to talk to. I
Okay.
talked to, I got their names in here, even Liz Sillen,
yeah.
Lauren Starr, and two other former selectmen, Tom Bergeron and excuse me,
Yeah.
Scott Bergeron and Mike Wisman.
Okay,
I talked to some folks in Whately. I talked to Whately's, the person who everybody thinks is gonna be the next finance committee chair. His name
Gotcha.
is Jerry Lemon. I talked to one other person, the current vice. I talked with my town admin, Peter Kane. I talked with Sunderland's town admin, Torres.
yeah,
And along the way, I learned a lot, because one of the questions I asked all these people is, like, what is it that we ought to be thinking about that I didn't just include in my conversation?
yeah,
And there were a couple of things. And one person said, hey, you know, you're gonna need to hire an architect. at least this is the conclusion. Because the building's use is changing. We need to hire an architect, even if we're not gonna nail one damn thing into the wall, right? We would need to hire an architect to look at the plan for the use of the space and sign off on things like what would the occupancy be, essentially, and maybe there's some other things, but the main thing, safety related, egress related stuff. And I think that's something that I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't know that, but you know, I'm a physics teacher. I'm not a real estate mogul, so that's something, and I don't know how much it costs to hire an architect, to do that, but presumably. It would not be in $15 million,
No.
which is what the other price tag we're looking at.
Yeah.
Another person I talked to was asking lots of questions about terms of the lease. Turns out this person was, he's retired, but did commercial real
Oh,
estate.
wasn't great.
So both of those people were asked if they would please help us negotiate.
That'd be great.
And both of them, I'm happy to say, said yes.
Wonderful.
So there are people with skills outside of teaching physics in a classroom
Right.
who are willing to help us out. So that's one place where we stand. I feel like at the end of talking to everyone, and I could go into more detail, I took notes on our conversations. I feel like, the one thing I want from this meeting is I want everybody to have some homework to do. And to try and get it done by our next meeting. And like, what is our plan? What is our timeline? So I did crunch a few numbers, and then if Jen will let me share the screen.
No, no, you can't.
And I will put those up there.
You should be able to share.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, so here.
Hold on, I gotta close mine out.
There we go. That's maybe I should squeeze in. So this is a spreadsheet. I was asking myself, and somehow, there we go. Right now, I put in $1,800 for the rent we pay now. I think it's a little bit more
It's
than that.
$19.50 a month.
It's $19.50,
Yeah,
okay,
we just went up for June 1st.
$19.50, okay. And then, I assumed that our new monthly rent would be $10,000 a month. That's one way or the other. We could have a smaller rent, but we pay more of the bills and do more of the maintenance ourselves. But we're not saving money by asking for a lower rent. So, I put in 10,000 because it's what we would need. That means the increase in rent per month is about $8,000.
And these
If
are subject to change based on negotiation.
subject to change, these are all estimates, right?
Yeah.
So I said, well, let's see, what if we moved in October 1st? What if we moved in November, December, January 1st? That would mean we need 9 months worth of that increased rent.
Yeah,
I used the new fractions that are in the new IMA to
Okay.
divide here.
right.
So if we were to somehow be able to move in, get a lease, get everything done by October 1st. We'd have to ask the town of Deerfield for about $40,000. And that's Sunderland for 20,000, we'd have to ask Whately for 13,000.
That's,
And if a move-in date, and that's just for this year's rent, that's the
Right.
difference.
And
For this
utility
year's rent.
too would have to be considered, right?
Not if it's 10,000, that includes utilities.
I thought it only included certain utilities, it didn't include electric.
Well, okay,
Okay.
this is an
be
estimate.
negotiated.
This
There's a lot.
Right.
To go.
So that's why I really gotta have Jerry Lemon on our side
Yeah.
here. So that's, so yeah, he was, you know, whether this is gonna work well. Is gonna depend a little bit on what those are.
Yeah,
So that just gives us an idea.
Yeah.
If we would ask for only 6 months worth, then it's this, it's these numbers at the bottom here. And if we somehow get our hoop in a group, as my sister-in-law likes to say. Then we're looking at these numbers, and this means special town meeting.
Yeah.
It means people have to show up. People have to show up to finance committee meetings beforehand. And maybe select board meetings to let people know that this is something that you want. What I did hear from every single person was, this could work. Nobody hung up on me, yeah, nobody said, oh, you're crazy.
Down County who?
No, no, a lot of people are really excited, even the folks that were, campaigning on, I want the senior center to be in a particular location in Deerfield are saying, hey, this actually looks like,
Good off.
it looks like good. And, they of course want details.
Yes,
So one of the numbers I wanted to make sure people got to see tonight was, my estimate is 10,000. That's one of the numbers, and that's a number that the rest of the estimates are based on.
and the other thing we would need to add to that really is, and I don't know how
Yeah.
it gets apportioned, or if we have a separate figure for this, would be like architect fee, OPM fee, like how much for the kitchen fee, like we were talking with our.
Like some of those are capital.
Correct, exactly, yeah, so, and I was trying to figure out, this is just rent versus
Right.
kind of what we need to
Exactly.
kind of move in. Furniture,
Right,
kind of thing, and we were trying to reach out a little bit to, project manager was doing our buildings, couple of buildings in town to kind of say, hey, would you do a walkthrough and what do you think? Like, again, ballpark numbers, what would it take to do what we need here? But I think a great idea for an architect too, to kind of just say, what can
Right.
happen here, what do we need for safety?
Yeah. And I didn't realize that was really triggered by a change in use. And that a senior
didn't
center
either.
is a
Yeah.
very different use than a office building.
Yeah.
I sort of feel. They're very similar, but
Yeah.
I don't do that for a living.
That's true.
So,
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
yeah, the other number that I gave people. Was this. The yellow box there, that's our current fiscal year's approved budget, that's
Mhm.
$213,000. If we added to that. Just the rent part. That's the number calculated is we have a 45% increase in our budget, so I'm gonna call it 50%. That's what I told people on the phone, is that, look, that means next year. We're gonna need a 50% increase in the budget.
You have been crunching some numbers too, right? I think, did I see an email about it? Yeah,
Yeah,
something similar, if I remember, maybe it's a little bit, yeah, I thought.
yeah, and
The people that got talked to.
Oh, you did, oh, wonderful.
yeah, Julie got one of my dump calls. And then I just subdivided it out for each of the town, but the percentage increase. So when I talked to, for example, Tim Hilty, I said, I got three numbers for you. 10,000 a month, $40,000 up front, and a 50% increase.
Yeah.
I tried to, and he didn't hang up. He didn't say, no way, and I didn't get that from anyone. The
Yeah.
other thing that everybody told me. Is those folks at Delta Sand and Gravel are good
Yeah,
citizens.
good people,
They're good people, they will
Yeah.
give us a good deal. They
Yeah.
will.
they're looking out for the well-being of.
Exactly, they are very community oriented, so I am, yeah, and that I think made everybody comfortable. One person calculated the rough cost per square foot, and he's like, man, that seems really cheap. And
The building value itself seems.
Yeah.
Low
Yeah.
compared to-
And then with a future possibility to purchase, and I say future because
Right,
we don't have we don't have an owner right now, right? We
Yeah.
don't have somebody who could pose as the owner.
yeah,
So that's kind of where things stand right now.
Mm.
But I'm wondering if we could come up with a to-do list.
yeah,
And maybe I'll start maybe around the table.
Yeah.
And maybe people can add to it. As we,
know that our finance committee has had a request to kind of start discussing this.
Oh, okay.
In town, so that falls.
so bring the discussion,
Yeah, great discussion, finance committees and
same
then
time, okay,
how, special town meeting, kind of how
Right.
we fund it, all the mechanics of that.
uh-huh,
And then again, we were reaching out, I'll probably have some more news this week on, what we get. Our OPM to just walk through it and see, and I mean, well,
you know,
anybody
you say
else.
OPM, that's,
It's an owner's project manager and
okay,
they kind of are your kind of eyes and ears and support when you're doing a large capital project. And
okay,
This
And you have an OPM because you have a lot of capital.
We have a couple of projects going on, the library and then our town hall as well, and so this is the
Okay.
entity that is helping us with those items. So we just thought maybe they would be
Okay.
helpful to just walk through and give advice, maybe
Oh.
they would say, oh, no, you shouldn't, you know, or we don't wanna be part of it, but maybe they would
Oh,
just give us a 2 cents on it or recommend, you really need an architect. You know, something
okay.
like that.
well, because we are gonna have a walkthrough on Wednesday. Oh,
Oh.
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, what,
We have scheduled a
3:30.
walkthrough for Wednesday at 3:30. And that was basically to make it so the building inspector of Sunderland could,
wonderful.
could come and look.
Yeah.
And he's very, he's not gonna like tell us what the occupancy can be. Right, I don't quite understand why it made it sound like, well, I can't do that because the architect has to do that first, and then anyway.
Okay,
I don't know exactly why he can't say anything, but he's willing to come and look,
that's great, that's
so.
great,
So the walkthrough at 3:30,
Yeah,
and I
Wednesday.
invited Tim Hilty to come,
good.
he wanted to see it, and I invited some other people, I think the architect. And I have to remember if the architect was Liz or Lauren,
From
From Sunderland.
Lawrence is close.
no, then it was Lauren that
an architect, from what firm?
I don't know.
This year.
I don't know if she's retired or
Oh,
retired or
okay.
not, it might be, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know.
We were working with Will, I didn't know they were, I know they're
Oh.
local and do some stuff, I don't know if
Yeah.
that's who it was.
And
Okay.
I just want to share, no meetings have been scheduled, so there will be no discussion.
Correct,
You will
Right,
just be taking,
viewing.
we're viewing,
are we
yeah.
opening it up to the public for that or no?
oh. Boy, I feel like I don't want 30 people to show
Yeah.
up,
Okay,
but
we'll be doing open house in the future.
Yeah.
we will.
I've had a
we
few
will
people
definitely
inquire about that.
Wanna do that,
So-
because this is, in a way, we're just
Everybody
trying to
does.
gather the information of,
Can we do this?
can we do this?
Yeah, okay.
Because if something is about the stairwells means we can't use the second floor for exercise space. Then the spot, then it's not gonna work.
Right.
Yeah, and the other concern is, the size of the elevator.
Yeah. Yeah, and I never got a straight answer from anybody. About whether a building of that age needs to comply with today's. I think that gets triggered when you put a certain amount of money into a project.
Yeah.
This is from my experience at work, that if you're gonna renovate a building. Then you better not exceed a third of its value or
Right.
bring it up to code,
Right,
which is why my building at work has no sprinklers
Hmm.
and no renovations.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, they don't wanna touch it. Right,
Okay.
so
Did I say something?
Flushed out.
those are the
And-
kinds of questions we need,
Jen,
we
would
need
it be
to
possible
go,
to
no
say
doubt.
something?
Answer to, I'm pretty sure, since we're not putting. We're not doing a lot, at least to get in the door, and the commercial kitchen is not gonna run into. A third of the cost of the building.
Right.
Then I think we'll be okay, but we need to understand those kind of
Those
things.
limitations, yeah.
Before we go in.
Yeah.
And we don't wanna get in there and then find out we can't do community meals, for
Right.
example.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons to move into.
the other question, what does the value have to be in order to put out an RFP, is it 5 or 10,000? For an architect to come and do
I
design work.
thought you had architect.
Yeah.
I forget, it's, I don't, yeah, 30,000.
And it was like 10 years ago.
I know for the building space, it was 30,000
Yeah.
for leasing, but I wasn't sure if it was different for the architectural piece. And
Right.
the only reason I inquire is because we've worked so well with EDM. It
Yeah,
would be great if we could find out how much they would charge for us to do that.
Okay.
yeah,
So
That's on your
I mean,
list.
I could
Talk about that.
inquire with
yeah, that
Chris.
would be great. They were great.
And it's just basically usage.
Yeah,
Is that what the analyzation is?
Yeah, and then, you know, they know.
They know.
Stuff too, and, yeah.
And design of the kitchen,
Yeah.
because that would be perfect.
And then the elevator, can we, are we okay with this, would we,
Okay,
you know? Yeah, it'd be great, or just get an idea of what their budget would be
Yep.
to do this.
because even though, you know,
I mean, well,
because the other pieces to that is, Doug is really knowledgeable about the interior piece, and if we've made it dementia friendly, there's certain paint patterns and other things that go into it. And I think the soundproofing is pretty good. But then if we added the ADA bathroom on the lower level, because there's only a standard bathroom there, I think that would help. You know, and some other things, and they showed us, you know, during that other process that they were
Yeah.
really up to date and knowledgeable about all of that aspects of the senior center, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and they know us as well.
Yeah, instead of having to go out and try to find somebody different.
Okay, so the first one, get the discussion before your finance committees.
Yeah.
That's on us.
Yeah.
That's on the blue reps. Okay. Timeline for having more public discussion to, I'll say, educate might not be the right word. It makes it sound
Share.
like people are stupid, but
Just share.
to share what we understand and what we're learning, and what we want to do. When do you think we would be ready to have
Well,
like a public forum?
I was thinking, so one of the things that, the MCOA grant that I got for $10,000, one of the write-ins is there is to do additional postcards and advertising for community forums. And
Oh,
since
okay.
we're in this process, now, you know, I figured we would kind of do it like we did with the EDM
Yeah,
sharing of those designs, so I can start looking to do that because we used Frontiers, auditorium. So we could probably try to get, you know, larger space like that over the summer because they don't have as many, things going on. And,
yeah.
you know, well, we could start doing it, oh my gosh, we're already in
Gosh,
July.
we're already
yeah.
in July.
So, I think wrong
And
month,
also, I'm sort of thinking people kind of come back.
Yeah,
yeah,
At,
September,
so, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, so maybe early September,
right,
I bet we can still get
yeah.
Frontier Auditorium.
I know, that the Sunderland Elementary School starts back up the last week of August.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming
Yeah.
Frontiers around the same time
Yeah,
frame.
they'll be the same.
Should be.
So
But
we-
we're
we
talking
could-
about an evening.
Yep,
or-
yeah, well, I can tell you that we ended up having about, the higher number when we did it at the Sunderland Library. We had
Oh.
over 50 people attend
Oh,
at
okay.
2 o'clock on a Friday, so that was doable for a lot of people.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I think
Then last time do it.
I
once
don't,
in each
I wanna
town.
be mindful of Labor Day for people, cause some people are away for that,
Yeah,
It's early.
Yeah, it's early, it's September 1st.
More.
Mhm.
Yes, and that's, I know that because I'm flying back from my research trip. On September 1st.
So I'm assuming you're doing every other Mondays for your select board meetings?
Yeah,
First, probably second and last Mondays.
Okay. Then do you wanna start looking at the first one, the second full week of September? That
Check
starts
with
the 8th?
Cool.
I'll check, well,
Yeah,
see what-
I'm gonna message them, but we can also use the Whately, town hall upstairs as a good presentation space for larger capacity.
Yeah,
And
And,
then the
yeah.
Frontier, and then for Sunderland, we can. Where usually hold your town meetings at the elementary school, right? So I can email with Ben to
yeah, you
see.
can decide whether it's on the library or elementary school, better
Depending.
location.
And I wanna do not just evening ones, I wanna do during the
Yeah.
daytime, so if we need
I
to.
agree, no.
I know it's hard for folks working, but what if we were to try to do? We got the info fair the third week of August, so
I think
that's.
having at least one in the evening, right? I don't think we need to have them all in the evening, by any means, so no. We get a different group of people, and it's not like Whately Town Hall is that far away from the Sunderland
Right.
Library or
Yeah.
No, they're all pretty
Frontier Auditorium.
close, so I'll look at the week of the 8th.
We just really need to figure out, get all our ducks in a row before we hold a presentation.
Yeah.
So some.
So tentatively,
Tentatively.
Tentative.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, I'll email Scott and Darius about that, and then for an evening, and then the Sunderland
Yeah.
Elementary School as well as the library.
Right.
It's been great.
And it'll send a little bit on if we can get some input, like, I don't know how much goodwill, I know we don't have any dollars left. we may have some goodwill with EDM and maybe they'll do a walkthrough with us.
Just
So-
a quick evaluation to walk, see
Yeah.
what it is.
Okay, well, in my information, I'll share some now. I've got carry forward funds. I'm not sure what the exact dollar amount is, but I mean,
Oh.
if I have, if it's less. I don't know if it's more than $5,000 or whatever, I might be able to help offset some of that.
Oh, okay,
But I'm not quite sure because we're already, like, if I knew we were gonna have this, I would have applied for a different grant opportunity, but.
Right,
You know,
well, we
'cause
did-
the modernization piece through MCOA is something that we could go through for architectural costs, but,
Okay.
that's already passed, and that's where I got the $10,000 for the outreach visibility piece.
Okay,
Well, let me ask Rachel Stoller in the audience. With Mass in Motion, would that be something that would work if we were looking at seeing if the space is ADA compliant and usage space for a potential new center? Would we be able to use any Mass in Motion funds for that?
To see if the space is.
Some background, 112 Amherst Road down the
Yeah.
road here has become an opportunity for us to potentially rent, move into, or purchase.
Yeah.
Right now, we've been looking at the pros and cons of both sides. It looks better to rent, but in order to do anything, you have to go through and for the usage purposes, have an architect evaluate, is, this building that was built in the 1970s, does it have to be up to code for the elevator? Does it have to be up to code for certain things? Would that be something we could use some money for? Because it's to see if it's accessible for people.
Yep.
Okay, so that's also a potential dollar amount. So like, if we have 5,000 there, 5,000 there, because I have like a certain
Yeah.
facet for what our budget is, as long as I cover the informational fair cruise night, because that's how we disseminate information. The tax work-off program is the rest of the project. I think Chris has been averaging maybe 2 hours a pay period or so, depending on what the process is.
Yeah.
So that could potentially be 10 grand right there.
oh, okay.
So,
And so if we got like a really inexpensive architect. Right.
well, so to depend on, the
Or
amount
maybe-
of time and other things.
It also may be that, if EDM already knows us and our needs.
Yeah.
Then some of their work is done.
Yeah.
And maybe they could do it for a lower price.
Just
But-
have to see.
But just letting you know, there could potentially be there, and, I don't know, I have to look at everything because I took 1,800 or so out of the carry forward funds from the operation to pay for the remainder of the van for the
Oh,
2 modifications we made to it to make it easier for the person driving, where the van will go down and have a remote, so they don't have to get back in the van and leave the person unattended.
yeah.
So, but everything else was covered by the capital funds for that.
Yeah.
Walk through, see what's there, get a few inputs and then kind of regroup again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so when do you want to give as a deadline for all of you to have your information back to me, especially if I have to put together a PowerPoint presentation? I would love it to be no later than August 25th. Is that doable? It's July 7th.
well, if my homework is just getting us on the discussion with finance committees, then that's one thing, but I sort of feel like that's really quick. But I feel like, in a way,
Depends on.
it's gonna depend a bit
schedule.
on if EDM is willing
Okay.
to
To work with us,
work with us a
cost
little bit.
analysis and all of that. Okay,
And then, if we can fund that out of existing funds, then we might have the information in time for a September 8th, week of September. 8th.
otherwise we have to push it off.
I'm ready to walk through before you.
Yeah, and that's,
Yeah.
Get her on.
And there may be other walkthroughs,
yeah, I
And
think
the
there's
stuff
going to be,
yeah.
there's definitely will be more than this walkthrough.
Early, but.
yeah,
And,
'Cause we
do
did
you
that
think you'll be
at
able to make
Oxford.
Wednesday, or do you want me to FaceTime you?
Wednesdays are tough for me to get done.
Yeah.
I can try, I mean, was it this one,
Yeah, at 3:30.
yeah.
probably, no.
Would you be available for FaceTime if I walked through with you?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, then I'll just buzz you at 3:25, so we can just get you
Yeah.
online for that.
3:30.
3:30,
3:30.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
All right, it's great.
Please tell me my
Sounds good.
computer's not trying to fall asleep.
No, I just,
Oh,
I just,
what happened?
I stopped sharing it. that's all.
Okay, then
And
I'll
then I
make
put
sure
that.
to have you there. Do we wanna do any public comment regarding 112 at this time?
I
Or do
was,
you wanna?
I was gonna go once more around the table
Oh,
here
okay.
and then.
I'm okay.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, so, folks, what are you thinking, what do you think on this list of things to do? That you could help with, or where do you see your role in this, or what do you think, what kind of questions do you have? Maybe I'll just start here, I always do that in my classes, I kind of start at the and go around, so, but I'll come back to this table later, if you're here, okay?
I'm a good cheerleader.
You're good,
Good.
okay.
The main thing is
So who
come
gonna
to
be
finance
cheerleaders?
committee meetings, come to select board meetings,
I
the
don't know
outreach.
about meetings.
Well,
Even online.
you just join online because you don't know what a difference it can
It
make.
shows that there's
When-
public interest, and if we want to
You
get
know?
over the hurdle and finally get a home for people under one roof. The most important thing you can do is show that there's groundswell of support and need, and people want to be there, otherwise
It does feel right.
it does.
Situation.
This feels right, you know, when you go and look at a 30-year, 6% loan, we'd be paying more than $1 million a year
Right,
between the three towns. This is gonna be something like $120,000. Just the rent part, and that's, of course, pet building, with the furniture, so.
sure.
I
There's
think
other
that's, I
costs.
think that's there are other costs, but that's the apples to apples.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a huge difference.
And we have in the past been very good at. You know, getting donations, getting grants for capital items,
Yeah,
getting,
yeah.
oh, hey, here's this industrial stove here, or,
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know what's gonna be done with the bison.
Right,
But, I have a lot of faith in our community, come on over here. Yes.
I have a question. You were talking earlier about meeting with two architects that you knew that are.
One architect, well, a phone call to an architect whom I've never met in person, to my knowledge.
Okay, and they're retired.
I do not know for sure they're retired. They may be retired or near retirement age, I think. So I'm guessing.
So my wheels were spinning when you were saying all this. Would they come in on a pro bono basis? or
Ah.
Give you a half price if they were
Yeah.
employed?
I can't speak for them, but I will.
They work off to the taxes. That's right.
Here we go. No, I'm not about, it is not belonging beneath me to ask them that. I don't think the time is right yet.
Right, but I'm just thinking.
Yeah, oh, no,
Sure.
If you pray a lot
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
wish, people think
Free is
they
the price.
I'm
of
with you. And give them a lot of coffee.
You never know
and
until
pray.
until you ask,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
can either say yes or no.
They're gonna say,
Or
right
they say, oh, they know somebody. that
But it doesn't hurt to ask.
now.
That's it, because a lot of people say, she could have done that,
Yeah,
and they just said yes.
Sure.
and
yeah,
You don't know.
good thoughts.
Yeah, I don't wanna volunteer them.
I know,
But
but you said.
always ask.
I can always ask.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think you're right, I should ask. And I'll look for the right time.
Yeah.
To ask.
Stretch it out.
How about this table? Have you ever at this table? Yes.
How much money do you think they spent, on all the things that they've looked into, different places, you know, how?
Grant. We had a $75,000 grant Deerfield got,
Yeah,
and that was, state, I think, and so that's
yeah.
what we've spent.
So we spent $75,000. Somebody else's money.
Yep,
That's right.
to find out what are our needs, so it helped us decide, you know, okay, this is truly what the need is. And there was other grants before that too, with the Collins Center.
That was before my time.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's been many studies of what do seniors need,
yeah.
what do seniors do, what are needs at home, like all kinds of things thinking about this. So there's been a lot of money over the years. Yeah, surveys and stuff, so there's been over $100,000 like spent to kind of decide what our
Yeah,
residents
to
need.
get the information we need to make a good decision.
Yeah, I mean, do we need
And-
this square footage?
And we're done doing that.
Yeah.
We're moving forward.
Now we're
Yeah.
on to like, okay, how do we fix something, but this opportunity kind of came out of nowhere because
Right,
We've been looking for a space of this somewhat size to be able to fit as much as we could.
What is the square footage?
It's about 100,000 square, excuse me, 10,000.
12,000. About,
On two floors.
it's on.
Three floors.
Three floors.
There's a basement,
Yeah.
kind of a lower level section, and then there's a main floor that you enter from the main
Yeah.
floor.
Let me,
And then there's a second floor.
yeah.
So the basement.
There is a basement, kind of a walkout. If you
It's a
pull down
ground
the
level.
back, you can pull in, so the whole
Okay.
land slopes away in the back. So if you drive behind the building, you can pull right in and just walk in the
Yeah.
door. And you have a lower level,
Yeah.
which we thought might be.
Here we
a good
go.
space
Like,
for the- for
Could you
the
expand
kitchen.
your screen or not?
Looking.
No,
there
it's
is-
good.
Yeah, so,
You go
yeah.
up the road past the Frosty, it's the next big building.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers building.
Brothers.
Yeah. And when you look at it from the street, it looks like it's got 2 stories,
Yeah.
but its basement is like. It has underground, in the back, it's walkout.
So
So
I just wanna show you,
this is the basement.
So when we talk about, there's parking in the back here. There's, right now, there's some dumpsters a little bit further there. But how this would work is coming in here, this would be our food pantry, like, you know, for anybody coming in who needs assistance. Over here, when you come in, these 2 walls would be removed and we would make this the commercial kitchen area here. We would also, probably take down this wall in between here and open this up for the dishwashing cleaning area. Over here,
Because that's
we
where
were-
the floor drain.
yeah, the floor drains in this area in through here. There's also another drain system in this area here, and this is a bathroom. This bathroom is not ADA accessible, unfortunately, so we would have to update that. But this area here, you can't do anything with because it's like your mechanical room.
Yeah.
But not pertaining to the elevator, that's on the other side. This is an egress here that would go up to the next level. This is a large space that we could make like a communal area, so we could socialize on days we do our food truck distribution. So you wouldn't have to go up to the third, you know, to the second floor, which is technically your third floor, here. So these are 2 rooms here, so you can make it 1 large room as well. And that's why, because of where the drainage is, you could make that, your cleaning. These 3 rooms we were unable to access because that's where it had computer details and such items there.
Servers were still there, yeah.
You know, because they're still, the space is still leased out. So right here you have your elevator, you've got like a little non-usable room here, but you could open all of this up. You know, this could be a restroom, and this could be the cleaning area, and this could be your cooking area. There's also a little funky
Closet,
closet
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So janitorial wise, you would probably have something down here, because it's like a janitorial sink in that bathroom. And there's more of a janitorial on the next level up.
Yeah.
So this just gives you an overview. These stairways are very wide. They're nicely done with like a plastic cover on them, as well as good sturdy handles, railings going up. The only concern about the elevator is that it's only large enough to get 4 standing people in there with feeling a little uncomfortable. But you could put 1 wheelchair individual in with another person to back them in. They would not be able to turn around with inside the elevator. You would have to do that outside. You wanna go to the next level?
Sure, give it a second.
And there's some windows here, which are great. It's got a lot of wonderful natural lighting.
This is the first floor, the floor where you would enter.
So this would be the main floor. There isn't an entrance here. We wouldn't use that. That'd be more for leaving purposes because we don't have a kiosk here. Plus, for safety reasons, there's something out here. But the main thing here is safety. We don't have a person here, we're not gonna be able to see, number 1, who comes in the building, number 2, if someone were to fall coming in this way. So this could be a way to leave on an emergency basis. But this stairwell is usable, so it goes down to that lower level we were just looking at, as well as up to the 2nd floor. So when you would come in, there's ample parking over here. We would have to implement a ADA door, a power door, because we don't have that right now.
When you walk in here, this is just a little vestibule area, but you can go upstairs here. This door would be open to reception, so someone could greet you. We would also have our little kiosk check-in that you see over there, you know, to scan in. You also can come in and use this as a coat room, is kind of like how we envisioned, or I envisioned. And this is your elevator, and this goes up to the next level. But when you're in here, when you come through this door, you've got this big area for reception. And behind reception would be a games room, movie room, puzzle room, kind of a thing, all usage. It'd be great for movies on certain days, open for cards and stuff, because we don't have that regularly here. It's usually just set days because you're in the biggest space we have. So this is a nice workstation where volunteers could come in. If we're doing the newsletter, you can stand, you could sit, do stapling, other things. But when you come through this room, you come in the main, you come through here. There is a program space here, which could be for presentations, speakers. You could also make that another movie room. It's got a closet here. This is a half kitchen. It's got a dishwasher, a refrigerator, nice storage. This would be, right now, I've been saying this would probably be my office, so I could kind of see people coming and going. And this is also another access point to that movie space, or to that other room I was talking
In the
about,
game space, so.
through there. So this is like a little walkway in between in that space. This is also storage in the hall here and inside. Then there's a little closet here outside
There were closets
everywhere.
everywhere.
Um,
I was so jealous. I wanted to live there.
so this room here, could be a multi-purpose room again. You could have it for our knitting group. We could, you know, have it for singing, you know, any type of arts and crafts type situation. This here would more than likely become the nurses' room. So when we have like Anne and Cindy coming in, instead of having them sit out here in the open, they have a private room to meet with people. You would also be able to go here for the foot clinic. Cause you know, it's great when you're sitting out here and everybody can hear zzz, so. But then when you walk out of here, here's two handicap accessible or ADA accessible bathrooms. And then here is a janitorial closet. It's got a sink in through here. So, you know, it's a really nice laid out plan. Yeah, there could maybe be a little bit more visual, but if we were to put up maybe a camera or something, you know, so people could always see who's coming in and out if there's an issue or something. And that goes to support our tax work off program by always having a receptionist.
Yeah.
So we don't have to have a full-time staff.
Jennifer, how many stairs going up?
I didn't count them. I can
Yeah.
count them on Wednesday.
Yeah,
But
it's not a particularly
Yeah.
nice even, but.
Where is the exercise room?
oh, that,
There we go. Whoops,
so
oh, sorry.
that's okay. So you have to go all the way to the top floor. And when you come off the stairs or the elevator, you're gonna wrap.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it so we can see the whole thing and I don't know why. There we
you
go.
Perfect.
Okay.
Don't touch. Perfect. So you got your stairs and you got your elevator. So this is where your elevator access is. There's like a little closet. This is the entryway to go down to the stairs there. Is that the stairs?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes, that is
But I
the
know
stair.
this is here.
Yeah.
So here is, I thought that actually might be a closet,
No,
because
no,
the stairs come out here. Anyways, you'll see that on your tour. Here is the only bathroom on the top floor. One stall. So just like you're dealing with now. But when you come through here, here's another program space that's similar to the one below. This could be for like meditation, for yoga, other things. Then when you come back out here, there's a closet here. And this is a semi-kitchen or partial kitchen right now. Right now, there's long tables set up. There's a full-size refrigerator, a microwave, no dishwasher, but because of where the sink is, we could have one installed without issue. Coming around here,
It's one big-
there's one big room. We could have this side be the exercise half. This side could be congregant meal section. So you could always leave your tables down unless we really had, you know, like a lot of people, but we wanna, for safety reasons, is why we've been leaving it and limiting it to 25 people for the meal. This is another office space, and here's another storage space. So up and through here, there's two more office spaces. This is where Chris and Tom would be. so they can always see you. There's glass doors for there. And there could also be another space where I can work if I wanna be, or, you know, we can always be out on the floor as well. This is another egress here. This goes back down to the stairs, all the way to the bottom level. And you know, a lot of natural lighting around the whole entire space, which is great. Right now, there's carpeting through here, but we haven't received a response as to whether or not it's fire resistant or retardant at this point. So we have to find out about that. But, you know, the one thing in here, I will say, there's beams. There's like 4 beams in the middle of this.
Yeah.
So someone could potentially be blocked, you know, depending on where you're sitting. You may not have the best view of something. But overall, this is phenomenal. We don't have to knock down walls. You've got a semi-private room over here for a smaller class. You know, and if someone, you know, we have the sound bath that came, remember, for some of you who came for that, you can go sit in here and be quiet and meditate. And the soundproofing in this building space is really good. You could tell with the acoustic tiles on the ceiling as well. So this is it here. And for eating and stuff, you know, we would definitely put in additional lighting because while the sunlight does come in, you know, depending on
Yeah.
what curtains you have and all of that, it will affect.
Yeah.
the
I mean,
space.
there is lighting in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's hanging light, but we would have to change some of that up, especially
Yeah.
if people are exercising and moving around.
Right.
But it's a really great space. I think it's, user friendly for what we need. Cosmetic wise, other than the main floor where you have to really do a lot to add in a commercial kitchen, potential additional bathroom and the dishwashing area. These other 2 floors are mostly like painting and, you know, furniture wise and stuff like that. But obviously an architect would have more information and insight on that. Nikki?
Yeah, I have a few comments, so bear with me. So we can't exercise on carpet, would that come up off the floor?
We talked to them about that and like everything we asked TJ, he said, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, because obviously we would fall, you know, your sneakers would get caught in the carpet when you're doing the thing that
Yeah.
we won't be able to do that, okay, good. The other thing is, if neither of your architect friends is able to do it, I may be able to ask one of my architect colleagues at the university who may be able to do it. I don't know. Again, I don't want
Yeah.
to promise anybody at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
May be able to do it as a project from the university, in which case,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right,
I'm
okay.
sure that they do, right now, they do, for the last several years, they've been doing stuff in Holyoke for things, and those have been, things that they've overseen students help with design or whatever,
Yeah.
but they're obviously engaging in the community, so.
Yeah.
Jen knows where to find me.
Yeah.
So let me know, that's a possibility. Is there a possibility, you were talking about a groundswell. I think there's already a groundswell of support for people in our exercise class. To me, what helps a groundswell, I understand that you can't take us all in there on Wednesday because you gotta look at it first. Can you just have some photos that like
Sure.
Jen could put in the newsletter? Cause I think that's the way to start the groundswell rolling, like,
Yeah.
here's the big room, it'll be the exercise room, we're gonna take the carpet out, you know,
Well,
whatever.
you
I think
know,
that would be good.
Yeah, if you go there at 3:30 on Wednesday, that whole space is full of, not cubbies, cubbies is what we call them in kindergarten. Cubicles. It's full of cubicles.
That looks good, that doesn't have the stuff we have to move, maybe just a few pictures, or where the building is, I can't tell you how many people I've had to explain where that building is. It's like, I used to work, I was like,
Yeah.
so used to, this is in Sunderland, used to be like right near there, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, another question, if I may.
Oh, sure.
Does the rental include elevator maintenance? Is that something we'd have to pay for separately?
They're willing to structure it any way they want, and I would definitely have that included. But I don't have a lease to show you.
We're not there yet.
Is there nothing?
Just to get, and the other thing is, I think pictures are not only good for those of us who really want this and have wanted this in a while, and especially for people like me, I've lived either in Sunderland or now Deerfield for the past 30-something years, and I'm gladly funded, you know, school projects or whatever, not having a kid in the school system.
Yeah.
So I believe that, you know, all of that is good citizenship, and this way we can encourage other people. But if people who are working seniors like I am, see the pictures too and envision stuff that they could do there
Right.
too.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Hey.
Yeah,
That's all-
those are all my comments.
This is what it is, yeah.
She puts it on Facebook like she's been posting stuff on a regular basis.
Right.
We can.
Yeah.
We just weren't at that stage yet.
Yeah.
Just any,
Yeah.
and then it's the promise of a tour, like, here's what we have, we promise you, there's gonna be a tour when it's ready, I think that.
Right, and I think,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I think getting, I think they'll walk us through there. Most anytime, they've been very, very, open to that. But we probably shouldn't just give you like 2 days notice, right?
Yeah. We'll do it. We'll organize it.
We, yeah,
It'll be like when we did 23
Yeah.
Palm Tree, when we get there, when we're not there yet.
and that may be in a few weeks, or it might be, I would hope it'd be either before or after, similar to the time for a forum.
Thanks, those are my questions, I had.
Yeah. Sure.
When do you get to, when do you get to go before the local city fathers with this?
Well, I think we gotta get on their agendas for their July and August meetings,
Okay.
and that's on us.
Ahead of that.
We should get on. But I think we need to get to our finance committees
Yeah.
soon. I know we'll have a meeting this summer. I think Deerfield is gonna have a meeting this summer too. Monday, okay. I didn't know how to get on that agenda, the meeting. Maybe it's
Oh,
not
you
too
mean for the
late.
finance committee?
Just to talk,
Yeah, Monday.
just to talk. Yeah.
I think that's an important first step.
Of course.
Because what you're looking at, if I read that chart right, you're looking at 100% increase in what they were paying.
50% increase,
50%.
50% increase, yeah, over what we're,
Still a large
oh,
number.
sorry, the rent itself is the thing that's going on.
Rent
If
itself is like 500% increase.
Right, and our, the overall senior center budget going from 213 to essentially $313,000. That's technically 46%, but I'm just calling it 50%
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the one that the towns have to sustain.
Yeah,
That's the one that if that's too big, and some towns gotta go to an override and then cut something, that's.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all gonna come up when the town fathers see those numbers.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly, and a few of them have seen that, or one of our town fathers here, it's like, look at use a overly gender specific phrase.
Gender specific town.
No,
Leaders.
I don't mind being called the selectman, so. No, you're absolutely right, and that is the job number one is to go to our, that's us. And it's not gonna be a one and done,
Yeah, no.
you know, we need to be keeping those folks, so that's on us.
Just a heads up, we're at 7:20.
We're at 7:20, okay, last thing,
Yeah.
I would like to move forward with appointing a lease negotiation committee to start talking with them sooner rather than later about what can be in that lease. I would like to, I had two people who, the architect who's familiar with government use of the public use. And my Whately Finance Committee member who was got commercial real estate. I will be out of the country for most of the rest of the summer. July 20th is when I leave, but I'm available on Zoom for
Yeah,
anything.
you've been really
I can
accessible with.
come to Zoom and anytime, but I don't know if I can zoom into a lease negotiation
Right.
meeting. But I have those two names and I think if we only have one boo member on that committee, then we don't
Right.
have to post a meeting.
Correct.
So, does anybody wanna be on the lease negotiation?
I'm happy to do it. Much too much.
Yeah, it's tough for me during the week since that's the daytime.
Trevor, it's you.
Okay, Trevor. Okay,
And who are the other two people, Trevor?
one is Lemon is his last name, Jerry Lemon and.
GERRY or J?
J,
Okay.
as far as I know. And I stopped sharing, okay, but now we move here. Notes. And I think it was Lauren Starr.
Yeah.
STARR.
Yeah, two R's. And
L-O-R-I-N.
Lorin.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Star.
I would have spelled it like my niece's name.
I know there's 25 ways to spell Lauren, yeah,
Great.
okay. So, because that's gonna be the thing, like, when we go to the finance committees and say what's included, We
Yeah.
keep saying, I don't know,
No, yeah,
Yeah,
but if we,
have it included.
but if we say, hey, we've got a committee working on that, and we can get back to you. On a time frame.
I'm wondering if, leading up to the meeting for Wednesday, I can come up with a bunch of, questions or whatnot that are already been
Yeah.
asked, and then other things that they could talk about. And just other comments from my standpoint for certain things, and then, do we want to schedule, see if they're available, Trevor? I know your schedule is kind of busy, but can you, do you have any time available
for who?
if we do a meeting with Jerry and Lauren?
Yeah, I think before I did that, I just wanna get like, I just wanna do that walkthrough and get an OPM to look at it. And then,
Okay.
and then just.
And you're gonna see if they can come
Yes,
Wednesday, but if they
exactly.
can't. We schedule another walkthrough.
Yeah, just text me and I'll.
I
text
will,
you, Jerry.
and then we'll get.
They've been very good about letting us walk, you know, come
Yeah.
in,
Yeah, they're great.
and see.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just wanna get a little bit under my
Okay.
feet first.
So that,
before I ask him.
That's on Trevor,
Yep.
okay.
Okay.
So I will give Lauren and Jerry a heads up that,
Yeah.
that you'll be in touch, and if you guys want, you know, decide you wanna meet by Zoom beforehand, I'm happy.
I would love that.
I would be happy to.
Let me know when you want me to schedule a meeting
All right.
Yeah.
for Zoom. I'm
Yeah.
happy to do that.
Okay.
Do you want it during the day or the evening?
We don't know.
I'll email you that then.
Yeah, we'll have to decide which time by email.
Okay.
The other thing I wrote down here that we should be, starting to make lists of is. You said a question list for Wednesday, but I had already written down, we need a list of other needs for pre-move-in, like.
Yeah.
The ADA door. That has to happen. We need an estimate of what I would call move-in capital costs, like, these tables are so lovely. And all our chairs, and you know what we have downstairs, but we know with the bigger space, it won't
Yeah.
quite be enough.
There-
So if you have some estimates, you may already have some estimates.
I'm working on some different aspects at this point,
Okay. Okay,
because I was recently turned on to a state website for something.
oh,
So, the link didn't work, so I'm hoping that the person who sent it will be able to
Oh,
to
okay.
do that.
so that's.
That was a discussion I had earlier. today.
Yeah. And then I wrote down estimates of any other cost.
Yeah.
That we haven't thought of, because. You know, I'm a physics teacher. I don't know, how the heck do I know about that?
All right,
And then I think in terms of, when I say move-in capital costs. That's kind of one category, that's what do we need to get in the door?
Right.
And the other is, capital costs that we could, spread out, so to speak, and like, for example, what would we wanna ask for in the next budget season?
Correct.
I think that's when we bring out the estimate for the kitchen.
Yeah.
Because that, we don't need that to move in, but we need it in short order.
and that's also,
The later, maybe the next year, the ADA compliant bathroom.
Right.
In the basement, so that, because that's the other place where people might need it. Like, what are those, well, say for the moment, deferrable capital costs that we want to plan? Like, when we go to a finance committee and say, well, this is what we're asking for this year, and look, this is what we're gonna need.
They wanna see.
And
Yeah.
here's what our estimates are at the moment. That will be very
There
valuable.
may be must-haves too.
Yeah.
Right,
And they-
exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
and I can tell you right now, one of the conversations I had with Greg via email was that, you know, or TJ, if the elevator doesn't work, I don't think it's gonna be something that they're willing to fix. It's very expensive.
Oh, no, yeah,
So-
that's right, if we can't move in and use it with that elevator. We
It's a
might
no-go.
as well, I'm gonna go cry for a little while,
Yeah.
and then. We just get back up on our feet and start looking for other places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a more modern office building that's empty.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Okay,
Okay,
all
we're
right,
getting on to 7:30, so I'm gonna go
Yeah.
one more, like, really briefly, I'm gonna let people say things, this table has. two people, yeah.
I don't know how big the cost is, but you need to figure in landscaping and snow plowing, because that's gonna be immediate and.
I'm hoping.
actually,
I'm hoping
that'd be
in-
covered by the lease, if we
Okay,
pay the higher rent.
Yes, yes.
Just a reminder about the rug, my understanding is those are squares on that rug, so we'd have to find out what's
We
under
have
the
to
rug.
put, yeah, we have to
Right.
probably put time.
Right, and,
Yeah.
the other thing is, You may know this, I was involved in a $65 million renovation at the university, and I wasn't in charge of it, but I was placed where it had 88 doors. Sometimes they will only give you, like, the strict ADA is like a certain width, but sometimes wheelchairs are this wide, so you may wanna make sure that the door will accommodate a wide wheelchair, because not everybody is in a wheelchair this is big.
Thank you. Yes, you haven't gotten a chance. to speak.
I haven't heard anything about rent telling.
Oh, I want to put, yes, that's still on the table. I think short term, we have to rent, but long term, maybe we do. own that.
I think that'd be a more palatable sell.
Yeah,
To the,
right, we need an entity to own it, and that which is the last item on our agenda. Right now, as an intermunicipal agreement agency, we don't have any right or possibility to own something, but if we become a consortium, or if we become a district, we can own things. And it would take the burden off of, any individual town to like really be the host. And own the building and take a risk for the maintenance and so on. So that's a really good point. Yes, Jamie.
I just wanted to make a comment that it is a flat roof, so that no one could run into potential situations with that.
Yeah,
And I think, I spoke with Jennifer, about maybe having a handicap shower and possibly a washer and dryer for people who
Yeah.
are
Yep, that's something
in need.
we're looking at. If we do the additional bathroom in the basement there, we would incorporate the shower and the washer and dryer, depending on where it is, we could potentially put it upstairs regardless because of, turnover and things like that for towels and other things that we use on a regular basis.
Thank you.
I. Dishwasher.
Volunteers.
Volunteers.
That'd be in the commercial space down.
Jen?
But on the first floor, there already is a built-in dishwasher.
Did I hear correctly that we could be turned off if this elevator proves to be too small?
Yes.
Yes,
And
well,
Is
what we,
there
I can tell you what we
any way-
know about it right now. It's got a 31-inch width at the door,
right,
which most wheelchairs will pass through. And
but
It's-
there's some big ones, right, too.
there are big ones out, but there's not a big one in that building. And to change out that, it might as well get a $15 million loan for 30 years.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put in a.
You can't knock down wall that's next to it to extend.
It's really,
That's the money.
it's really expensive, because the walls around the elevator were like, I don't know. I feel like they were 6 feet of concrete, but they.
See the ads on TV where you just hit a button, you sit in the chair, and it brings you up the stairs?
Yeah.
Stairwell.
Yeah, okay, right?
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Alright. Let's get punchy here.
Let me give these folks a chance. Anybody? I know,
I asked mine.
Yeah.
I asked about
You
the
did
stairs
washer
and the
on it.
dishwasher.
this one is on our list, yeah.
All right.
Okay, very good. I'm gonna let you say one more thing and then we're gonna move on.
I just gonna suggest, and I imagine you've already thought of this, if you can identify all the items that are included in the rent with numerical values,
Yeah,
that way the $10,000 isn't gonna be such a shock, because we're getting all this other stuff.
yeah, that's
We
true.
have a.
Is it possible to ask a question from here?
Yes, hold on, Larry, I've got you. Can you show yourself, please?
Yes, show us your beautiful face while you talk.
They said, can you show yourself? Just a second.
Yeah,
Thank you.
guilty.
Asbestos, people should ask about asbestos.
Okay,
Because the building is 1973, there may be asbestos, it's not a major problem unless you start moving walls or breaking into things. So when you're doing a walkthrough, wherever, you could ask about asbestos because it would increase the costs of renovating.
Yeah.
That's it.
oh, thank you for reminding us of that.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. All right, I think we got a pretty comprehensive list of things we wanna
Yeah.
get done, and hopefully some of them will get done before our next meeting. Okay,
Okay.
all right, are we ready to move on then to?
My turn.
Senior center updates, and I know you're gonna do this at
Sail through these
1,000 miles an hour.
fast.
Sail through.
No.
7:30.
Forever.
Minute.
Just speak quickly.
My time is just as valuable as yours.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
It's an announcement.
So I just wanted to share, we have some summary statistics that does not incorporate several of the movement classes like my email shared. But just to show this fiscal year from July 1, 24 through June 30th of this year. We have provided services, supports, events, rides, telephone calls to 627 individuals unduplicated. Compared to last fiscal year, which was July 1, 23 to 6/30/24, which was 475. So we are getting a lot more folks in the door and on the phone, which is great. I think our postcard mailing last year had a lot to do with that, and we're continuing to do that. Also for events for this fiscal year, we had or check-ins, I should say, with everything, and this is 250 days in range. We had around 64 older adults coming through the door. Where in the previous fiscal year of 24, we had 233 days in range, and so average of 68 people per a day. Some low months are, I would say, October went down a lot this last year. But we've been pretty consistent with numbers, and then July and August, I think, could also be because events were staggered out. But we're hosting additional days, so that shows that we're doing more. And Tom has been a great addition, and the seniors really enjoy having him. Thank you. So you can also see from the usage data here that I shared, the Whately participation from fiscal 24 went from 108 to 135 for this fiscal year. For Deerfield, it went from 252 to 327. And the first number was actually Sunderland. Dan, my apologies. So you went from 108 to 135.
Yeah. And that's individuals, not.
Individuals, yeah, unduplicated individuals. And for Whately, it went from 38 to 64.
That's really double.
So we're showing that we're getting a lot more usage data. We'll have more solidified numbers once we get the attendance rosters in from the and movement classes.
Yeah.
Some important dates I think you should be aware of. Next Thursday, we're doing a cruise on the Connecticut River. That's at full capacity. We sold that. We're also, we're also going to Look Park for another summer picnic, more quiet. The following week after, that Thursday, I apologize, I don't remember the date off the top. But our big event for August is our informational fair and cruise night. Last year, we had more than 200 people walk through with the cars, and that is going to be Wednesday, August 20th. From 4 to 6:30 at Sunderland Elementary School. I already have connections with Sunderland's Police Department, so they've referred us over with the cadet program to help have additional people for traffic. We have Myers Catering for the food truck with Riff's Joint, if you're familiar. We have Chicken Wire scheduled for our music. And right now, I think Chris said we're at like 20 or 21 committed community partners who are attending.
Right.
So, yeah, and that's up from, I think, our first year that we did it was like 13 or 14 community partners and 10 cars.
Yeah.
Last year, we had 49 cars. So this year, we're asking people to pre-register for their classic vehicles. So that way we can make sure we have enough space where to put it. We are Wednesday, August 20th.
And what do people have to do if they have a vintage car?
They have a vintage car, they can call Tom Patria at 413-665-9508 to register. Or email him at scpa@town.deerfield.ma.us. We're taking out ads in the recorder, we'll have them online, we're going to be doing stuff with FCAT and posting around town. And going to some cruise nights at Tom's, Hadley. The Hadley Men's Club and some other places, like we've done in the past, and we've gotten quite a good response from that.
All right.
What else is going on? I think those are big dates that we need to look at. The community forums are what we're planning to do. Hopefully we can get to add, the other information from the 112 Amherst Road. But pretty much, the staff's been doing a great job. We had a phenomenal turnout at our annual picnic. I know Joyce and Trevor were able to attend. Dan, I'm sorry you work in Brookline. But we had over 130 seniors this year. So we did a great job. The sheriff, Lori Streeter, came out and her team cooked for us, provided the food for us at no cost. We did, we paid for the tent, the drinks and stuff, and we had collaboration from the police departments. And Eagle Brook School also provided the side dishes. We held an after action review and we went over, determined we needed oval plates, so we have oval plates, already purchased those, so we'd have them for next year. Because, it was hard for people to balance a burger plus the side salads, etc. I think people enjoyed the streaming music versus a live band. I could turn down the music if there was an issue with volume.
Yeah.
So next year we already have our plan. We're not sharing until just before we get out, but we're trying to figure out how to top this year. So that was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
I think that's it for now. I think you may, as Chris shared earlier, or you may hear from him getting in front of select boards for the tax work-off group.
Yep.
Him and the group of volunteers has been doing a great job with that. I haven't been involved with that one as I was in the other two because we've still been managing the other grant after other stuff going on. As for grant updates, we received $5,000 from the Wells Trust.
Yeah.
That is going towards our chair yoga and our balance and motion classes, because we have that $3,000 earmark in the annual budget, which is going for the enhanced fitness classes.
Thank you, Weston.
Yeah, so, and unfortunately, we did not get the MCOA grant for the movement class. Carol, your video was great, but they're looking for more pilot type programs than something that has been ongoing.
Right.
And then the $10,000 outreach grant that we received as well. I've heard a few updates about our van. We should get that mid to end of July. I'm hoping we get it more close to midsection. That's a 14-passenger van with 2 wheelchair accessible spaces.
Do you know what the bill was? I just signed 13,000.
So it's $12,500 from Deerfield plus my 1810. I think it was from my operations budget for those additional 2 items. So it was around 14,000.
Yeah.
For the, for that. But I have a check from everyone except for Sunderland, to give and mail off once we receive the vehicle. So I will send an email to Becky if you could also remind her that we need that. I'm not sure. Do you have an accounting firm that's doing the bills for?
We do, I do.
Okay,
Definitely have the same one we had last year.
okay, great. Yeah, because they've been sending stuff to the wrong address in the past, so I just want to make sure that we get that. But I think that's pretty much where we are right now. I'm gonna be taking time off on Friday this week and maybe some dates intermittently over the summer. No, staff doesn't have a vacation planned for during the summer at this point.
All right.
So, and the MCOA conference is in October. I'll be going to that
Okay.
as usual. So.
All right. All right, good, very good. Let's, we've got one item up for the consortium and district discussion. I don't feel like we need to go into it a lot tonight, but I've been, there's just an article in today's paper about what our neighbors are doing in West County. We should just I feel like we need to keep ourselves appraised of that.
Yeah.
And keep in touch with those folks.
Yeah.
I mean, we are getting our IMA amended, right?
Yeah.
And I think as the rent to own discussion happens, that's where we say, well, we're considering becoming a consortium. And I think that's a good intermediate step before becoming a district.
Yeah.
Because I think it's still, you don't get to write your own tax bills.
Right.
And it's also, I mean, you basically are becoming a town. You need your own accountant, you need a lot of things.
They actually just left a consortium and became a district.
I know, like,
Yeah.
that's why the
For
article.
July
that's what
1st,
the article.
yeah.
The newspaper said, And so that's a big step, even though structurally, they're sort of doing a lot of the same things. So changing to something where you can have ownership like a consortium, where all the towns really still have their, yeah, well, I didn't know they would still have representatives under the district.
Okay.
But I think, where each of the towns really has to sign off on every aspect.
Got it.
I think you get a little bit more freedom from that, and you. To me, the big thing is, it's like the South Deerfield Water Fire District, right? There's a separate line in the tax bill, that's not. I
Right.
think that's not voted on at town meeting, is it?
No, they have a prudential committee
That's
that
right.
holds a public meeting and they vote.
Right, so it's still done in the public
It
because it's,
is, yeah,
but it's a different process than we're used to.
right.
And I think, changing to that different a process would be a really hard sell in the
Yeah.
towns. Whereas maybe if we say, well, look, this rent to own thing is not gonna work unless one of your towns steps up.
Or,
No one will take on that burden, and that's not completely understandable. I'm not
Right.
saying the towns are back, they're not doing that.
yeah,
But if we say, well, if we switch this consortium, this is a way for no one town to have the burden.
right.
And that the burden is shared much more equitably that way. And that, I think that's the conversation we kind of have to have. Hand in hand, and it's gonna take a little while, because even the consortium, didn't that require an act of the legislature?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So that's not something we can do by October first or even
No.
January
Right.
first. So,
Yeah.
I think we keep our eyes on that.
Yeah,
And so your homework is to go look up that article in the Recorder.
you don't do that.
It's on the front
Today.
page.
Today?
And we have today's
It
paper
starts
over
on the
there
front page, and then
Okay.
there's,
if you
yeah.
need to borrow.
I have a PDF of it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my subscription anyway.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
Motion to
Any
adjourn.
unanticipated items?
No,
No.
the only unanticipated was the work group, but I sent out a revised agenda, so we were able to do that, and everything
Great.
else is pretty good.
Okay,
Good. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
McDaniel, aye?
George Palmer, Fortune, aye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, hey, thank you, everybody, and thank everybody for
Yeah,
coming.
thank you. Stay so long.